Hi everyone, my name is Mahi and welcome back to Candid Talk, the show where we uncover the invisible behind the visible. It's been a while, but we're back. So my guest today has done some incredible work in the world of psychology. I was a psychology student too. She's done counseling, she's done research, she's helped children in need, she's worked in a lot of things with them, and she also promotes healing practices as a way towards a better quality of life. So to talk about that and some more exciting things, let's welcome my guest, Miss Sulakshana.
Hi, Mahi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Excited.
Yeah, this is your first podcast.
It is my very first experience.
Yeah, what are you expecting out of this conversation today?
I'm just hoping that I should be able to share a message that would be inspiring, because I was on the other side of where I am today, and I didn't know what it would be to be on this side. So if I can inspire even one person out of this Candid Talk, I'll be more than happy. Mission accomplished.
Yeah. I love your outfit today. I love the whole red color and the golden stuff going on. Do you like to put because every time I have a guest who has a very systematically put together outfit, I can tell they put a lot of thought and effort into it. I like to ask them about it. So do you like to put a lot of time and energy in your outfits, or is it something you're just eh?
I know I do. I have to. For me, it's very important to wear the right thing. For example, I knew that this is about camera and it's important with a certain color, so I was not very sure whether I should go dark color or light color. And then I decided to go dark color.
Matches those really nice.
Yes.
So you're on spring break, because I think everyone's on spring break right now. How's that been going for you?
It's been going good. I've been experiencing a good time. I'm alone at this point of time because my husband is traveling. My daughter just gone to university in Australia. So this is my first spring break without my daughter around, and it was difficult in the beginning, but I'm enjoying the flexibility of time, and I've got my pet Casper, my husky, and I just enjoying the time with him. And I've just enrolled myself for guitar classes.
Oh, fun!
Yeah.
I play the guitar too.
Oh, is it? Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
Still haven't learned it though. I mean, I'm still trying. It's been a while. So, what does your ideal day off look like? Are you excited to have this whole time to yourself? What do you do?
So my perfect day would be, and what I'm trying to do right now is wake up in the morning, yoga, meditate, then have I'll break my fast. Normally, I have my breakfast by 11 o'clock. I do intermittent fasting. I don't think you should be eating the whole day. So I feel there's only a certain period of time, 7 hours, where you should be eating. So 11 to 6 is my eating time, and then reading book. Probably catching up with family and friends, yeah. But that's what it is, yeah. So I like to balance between social and just having that me time.
Are you into watching movies or any kind of shows, or listening to music to sort of just?
Yes, I love listening to music, but when it comes to, I have no patience with Netflix. In fact, I have a friend who, when she came to know I'm alone, she said, watch the series, and I just don't have patience. Maximum I can watch a YouTube video, funny videos. I love to watch those. But reading a book is something that I enjoy. But I feel because we have so much on social media, we can't, the focus I feel has been compromised,
Yeah. It's really bad.
Yeah, the way I used to read earlier, I don't, because I'm reading and then I'm like, okay, let me just check my phone, and then next time I know I'm on, watching a YouTube reel. So I think that is something I need to work on. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. So I was wondering, how because you're at such a high position, at a certain point in your life, there are a lot of times where you meet new people, you go to these events and everything, and you get kind of frustrated sometimes when you constantly have to talk about just your career and what you've accomplished, but nothing more than that. Does it get kind of repetitive for you? Is it something
for me, when I'm meeting someone, I try to learn from them. So it's not about what I'm sharing with them unless they ask me. I would be more interested to know what I learned from them. If I'm in a social gathering where people are talking about other people or which is not productive, then I just choose not to go in such social gatherings. Yeah.
But anywhere where you have to you're invited as a guest or something, and the focus is on you, but the focus is completely on your career and your accomplishments, does that make you feel a little weird sometimes, where you're just maybe it's more about what I've accomplished than about me, kind of? You're just there as a person. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you mean, but then I will always try to divert the topic to probably like I said, maybe something for you to learn from me, or something for me to learn from you, yeah.
Yes.
So this is how I would probably divert that topic, when I'm feeling awkward about, okay, this is too much about me and you're not getting anywhere, knowing about me, but this is something that you can learn, which I'm, doing, and maybe may inspire you.
So that being said, what is something that you wish people would know more about you as a person, aside from everything like your, career and stuff like that? What do you think people should know more about?
Interesting. I think my love for yoga, meditation, I think this is something that people don't know much about me, they just see me as a university counselor, or, but I think the fact, my passion for yoga, I think that is something that, yeah.
Where does that come from? Did you get that from like a young age, or like watching your parents?
Yeah, I'm extremely grateful for my dad. So I would wake up in the morning. The first thing in the morning I would see would be my dad on his head and his feet up. He would be doing something called Shirsasana, and that's my morning. So I've woken up seeing my dad do yoga, and that inspired me a lot. And then I just been into yoga, and then Isha came into my life. The Isha yoga. And since then, I've been practicing yoga, and I can't emphasize the importance of yoga in people's life. And I feel you have yoga, you have meditation in your life, you are physically and mentally a healthy person.
So when you were like my age, when you were a teenager, and like we tend to have, our minds are like a clutter at this age because there's so much happening. How did you use all of this to your advantage?
So when I was of your age, it was for me more about learning, and at your age I think it was finding a purpose in life. I was always about what's my purpose in life. So, and I think I remember I used to read these articles in Times of India. I used to read this person's article, and his name used to be Sadhguru Jaggi.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I don't know who this guy is, but I used to be very inspired by what he's talking, and he used to connect to me. And he used to, and his imagine some Sadhguru, and I'm like, his face looks like a Sadhguru, but he's talking so much of sense that even a 16, 17-year-old can understand. And so his philosophy really, kind of inspired me a lot, and, helping me to understand that we all have a purpose in this life, and the purpose is, service, So, and then authors came into my life, like Dr. Wayne Dyer, So I've been very inspired by all these authors, and yeah.
So let's go back in time. Like growing up in India, what was life like for you?
So I'm the third daughter, so I've got two older sisters as well, very pampered. Both my dad and my mother. I would not believe in gender inequality. For me, it's like if a boy can do this, a girl can do that. And especially because we were three girls, we had that social pressure that, your girls can't do enough. But we were different kind of girls. And I think my elder sister, she was a big inspiration. And also my second, both my sisters, they've been huge inspirations to me. So just, following their path, and, they are successful in their own field. So just following their path, and always trying to challenge, when people showed me my limits, I would always challenge it, and no, I can go beyond, Somebody who believed in freedom a lot, Yeah, my dad gave us a lot of freedom when it came to choosing my subject or, university, or we had that freedom, You can do what you want to do, you can choose what you want to do, that kind of a thing.
That's also something I wanted to ask you about, was that psychology at the time, from what I know, was that it wasn't really looked at as something that people would generally pursue. There were a lot of like preconceived notions and assumptions, like, oh, you work with crazy people and stuff like that. So there's a lot of criticism at the time that people would get. So I was going to ask, like, did you face the same thing, or was it a completely different experience for you?
Yeah, I did. In fact, so, when I used to be in school, I always think that I wish there was someone in school whom you could talk to, and who's just, and those days we didn't have a concept of counselor and, all that stuff. We used to have our teachers, but we didn't want to talk to our teachers about it. So I always think, I wish there was somebody in the school who would talk about, children's issues and all this stuff. And growing up, so in grade 10 is when we choose our career, yeah? And I wanted to go into a good college. That was my priority. But now, to get into good college, you have to get very high marks, right? And science, if you're smarty, then you have to get into science, that kind of a thing. And I remember Mitibai is, one of my top choice in Bombay, and I was like, okay, maybe I should, this would be a good choice. And so I was with my father and we were talking to the principal, and he said that, and my marks were not so great. And he said, and he gave us an option of pursuing arts as a stream, and he spoke. And Mitibai is was well known for the science and the arts stream at that time. And he was the one who spoke about psychology. He said, no, we have got psychology in this field. Psychology, that seems interesting. We don't know what is psychology, nothing. But it just came to mind. And then that's how my journey with psychology started. In our second year of bachelor's, we had to choose 2 subjects. Okay, so I had initially I had economics, sociology, and psychology. So 2 subjects. So I chose economics and psychology. I was very good in economics. For me, economics was common sense.
Oof, I was never good at it. I worked so hard at it, but I still ended up with a B in my finals.
For me, economics was very easy. I could just understand it,
Yeah.
But what kind of a job would I have? A 9-to-5 job? And, psychology was challenging. I had to work hard to get those grades. And we had limited seats for psychology. We had like only 20 students could be selected for the psychology class. We had like around maybe 200, 250. Mithila is a huge college. And I was one of those kids who got selected into in that class of 20, students. And then again started my journey with psychology. After I had finished my bachelor's, I took a break because, like you said, that was going to come to a shrink and, not really encouraged. And I said, I'll take a break. I did work for some time. And when I used to work, I used to notice that I was attracted towards helping people, or people were attracted to, reaching out to me, So I realized there was some skill that I had that helped people to confide or share or speak, And then I decided, let me do my master's. When I started my master's, we had 4 options, industrial, counseling, social, and clinical. And I had decided to go into industrial because I want to make money, I want to work in an HR. But then I started getting attracted towards counseling psychology. I loved going to the schools and working with the kids. I loved going to, I loved geriatric counseling and, that kind of field. And then I ultimately got into, so yes, I was like, I had my family would say that, are you sure you want to do this? Maybe you should do your MBA, instead of your master's. And I was like I said, I didn't have any force, nobody forced me. People try to influence me. I've always been somebody who has her mind of her own. Like when I decide, I decide. I don't I'm an intuitive person. I go based on my intuition, what I feel is right.
That's great. That's very nice. So what about when you were a child, like you said, you wish you had someone to talk to in school. At the time, what were some things that were going on in your mind? Were you struggling with something, or were you just wanting to have conversations with someone?
Nani, it was not so much about me. It was more about my friends around. Yeah. When I used to see my friends around who, coming from an underprivileged background, or struggling with maybe studies. It was more from that perspective. So I feel growing up, I was a very chilled out kind of person. Like everything is good, everything is cool. Like cool kind of a person. But I was very sensitive to other people's needs. So when I used to see how people are in their own shells, and I think that was what it was. Because when I'm looking back at what was my struggles, I can't think so much, but I can definitely think about some of my friends who had their struggles coming from underprivileged backgrounds, or or maybe broken family or something like that. So it was more for them. I wish they had somebody to talk to.
Do you look at kids from people you work with now, like kids now, and you think about yourself back in their age? What is one thing that makes both of those age groups similar? Different times, but similar, whatever, issues or whatever.
What would be similar? I think when it comes to friendship.
Oh my God, you're like the 10th person to say that.
Yeah. I think it is a friendship, and I think the kind of bond, and I think that is no different right now with the kids. For friendship matters so much for kids.
Yeah, I feel like when you're young, but as you grow older, it kind of just fades away after a while, which wasn't the case back then, from what I think. But now it's a little difficult to kind of maintain friendships?
Yeah, I guess that is what it is. When it's difficult to sometimes establish, but when you establish, I think it's friendship to stay. Like when I look at my friendships and then my daughter's friendships, and I know that how, she's got a friend who's been there from KG to now, and I have a friend who's been there for me, So when you manage that friendship, you can sustain it for life, So I see that in my daughter, I see it in me, I see it in my students also, when it comes to friendship. That their relationship with parents, of course, has changed so much. We would listen to our parents. Our kids don't do that, they will challenge, they'll question, they've got their mind of their own.
Yeah.
But when it comes to friendship, it's just the same, the quality.
So I'm curious, like when you were, what is something that to this day you've hidden like from your parents that they really don't know, something that you've done?
Oh my God. I don't think I've ever done anything that I would hide, because I always feel that there's a God watching over you, So whenever it came to, like hiding something, I know, like even now, I'll not hide anything from my husband or my, daughter or anything, because I know there's a God watching you. So do things that ultimately you will have to show it, So I believe in being genuine and authentic.
Were you kind of like a mischievous child?
I was naughty. Yeah, I was very naughty. Yeah. So I mean, like I said, I was not like that. Girls should behave this way, prim and proper. I was like, I would jump, I would climb on trees, I would go places. Like there was this one terrace we had, and the ladder was very kind of steep, so no kids were allowed to go. Who goes there? Me. I would go there. So and my father was the secretary of the society. So. And once he came to know that I'm someone who would, try to go up the terrace, because it was like, adventurous for us. So yeah, very adventurous, naughty, but I was very sensitive to people's needs even then.
I relate to that. It's something, I don't know, when you explain it to others, they don't get it, but it's like the micro expressions and the mannerisms that you just kind of get the vibe off of them. And then if you ask them about it, they're like, no, I'm fine, but like, they're not fine, So it's stuff like that, but not everyone understands.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
So at your first job, what was your first job?
What was my first job was working in, actually my first job was, it was a summer job. It was working in, one of those, I don't know what I can call it, but typically data entry. So we get stuff and then we have to enter. So it was a lot of laptop, we didn't have laptops, we had computers. Okay. So a lot of computer work. So I had studied in schools, in the school, we went to Lotus 123, which is, Excel today, I believe, but was introduced. And my father, like I said, he was always forward thinking. So we used to have an option of knitting classes. And for that year, we had this new subject, computers, introduced. Very few children were enrolled because first of all, it was no money. We had to pay extra money. For knitting, it was free. My father, he enrolled me into computer because he said, this is something that she will need. Knitting, she doesn't really need it, and he is so right. And so I got into computers, and because of that, I got this first summer job. So that was like a time pass, kind of a job, just earned some 700 rupees, I still remember, for 1 month. And then my second job, remember I told you after my bachelor's I took a break and I wanted to work. So I worked in a call center. So it was a 1 month of induction where they trained us in accent training and communication skills. And it was for that I joined. And I had a friend, Pallavi, who used to work, who was my classmate in college. And so she introduced me to that. And so it helped, it was a lot of training. And we were supposed to sell insurance. 𝐬𝐢𝐥𝐿, I still remember that. And that was my first, that's the job where I realized that I was attracting people, who needed help, and I would be talking to them. So most of the time in that job, I would be sitting and counseling people,
Oh.
Yeah. So like, I would, because we were typically teenagers, and then they would have their boyfriend issues or something, else. And I was always be there, to help them, guide them. So I knew that, okay, it's something, there's something. So after that, I did my master's. After I finished my master's, what did I do? I worked in one of my friends, he had started a psychological center. And I just wanted to help him out. So I was helping him. And I met there, I had another classmate. She was my friend from master's. So she used to work, she knew somebody in Tata Institute of Social Sciences. And they had a research called Muskan. There is a child and adolescent guidance center that TIS was supporting, which is called Muskan. So that was, I can say, my first job. Yeah.
A lot of firsts.
Yeah.
Was there like a funny memory that you have, maybe like a rookie mistake or something that you made from any of these jobs when you were like, oh, this is not right?
I don't think I can remember any mistakes that I made, or yeah, no, I don't think so. Yeah, some funny, humorous incidents I probably would have done, but then not really. I remember working with the police department as one of the project, and because my Hindi was not as good, and and they were Marathi speaking, and so then there were some funny incidents where I said something and it was misunderstood as something else, and these are the police I'm dealing with, so that kind of a thing. Yeah, so I think that's the only thing I can remember.
That's intimidating, that I'm working with the
police. Exact, and they're so sweet. Those guys were so sweet. Yeah, they had to come for this, checkups, and so they had to talk to counselors for that. So it was very funny because we had to have this conversation, and my Hindi was not as fluent, and it was very funny because they would not understand what I'm saying, and I would misunderstand what they are saying, and I'm like, I'm talking to police, and what am I doing?
So did you ever get to go to their station?
No.
Oh, because I thought you'd get like the chai and stuff.
No. It was a center. I can't remember the name of the center, but there was a center, and these guys came for a physical checkup, and they had to come for a mental check. So for the mental check, they had to talk to counselors. So we were typically supposed to be trainees. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk a bit about when you worked with Tata Institute. You said you work with children in need. Can you talk a bit about that? Because how did that come about? Like children in need, because there are some situations that can be very heartbreaking when it comes to kids. So how did you deal with all of that?
Yeah. So Muskan was a child and adolescent guidance center, and there was a research. So the name of the the director of that she was also Professor TIS, Shubhada Maitra. She was the director, and she was doing a research on children in crisis situation. So we had to work with children in different crisis situations, which included riots, children, abused children, children who belong, children of prostitutes, yeah, and whoever is in a vulnerable situation, and we have to use play and art forms to communicate with them. So how can play and art be a form of therapy with children? Because what happens is when a child is emotionally deprived, they can also be challenged verbally. They're not able to express themselves verbally. And the best way to express would be through play and art form. Yeah.
Wow. So is there a specific child or a moment that sticks out to you? Are you still in contact with any of these kids, by the way?
No, I'm not. Yeah, no. I think about them. I remember them a lot, but no, I'm not. But yes, I want to share one experience that I had, and now this is when I was doing my masters. Okay, Mahi, we had placements in schools. Okay, and we were placed in this place called Wakola. It was a government school, and we had to do a parenting session. Okay, so parents would come to us and talk about an issue, or generally all the parents just had to come and talk to us, randomly what's the issue and how can we help. There was one of my classmates, so we are all students, right, masters. So one of my classmates, she was talking about, the child who comes to me, he doesn't do anything. All he does, he takes a clay, he makes a snake, then he makes a rat, and he's always playing this game that snake is going to eat the rat, the snake is going to eat the rat. And she's not even talking to me, she's just talking to somebody, and I'm overhearing this conversation. And I turned to her and I said, you need to look into this. There's a concern. Why is this child having, and now I don't know anything about play therapy. Play therapy is not taught to us in masters, okay? And I'm just saying, but I know that this child is trying to communicate something. Why is he doing this thing every day? You know what we got to know? The child was being exposed to a situation where his sister was being abused by the uncle, the mother's brother. And that I will never forget it, because I'm still a student. And then when we started probing, we spoke about it to the sir, our professor, and this is what came out of it. So you see, this child was trying to communicate something for so long through play and art form. So that was something very that I'll never forget that particular incident, and then helping the mother to, and you know how it is in India, sometimes you will just shut the child and you'll say, oh, this is not happening, because it was a brother, mother's brother, So she was just trying to, so we had to really take help with the professor and, solve this issue and keep both the children safe, because this little kid, the boy was being exposed to his sister being abused, and the girl was actually going through the abuse. Yeah. And these are people from underprivileged backgrounds, Yeah.
So how did you, when you were still learning on your own, how did you deal with all of this? Because this is some heavy stuff.
Yeah, it was not very easy. It was very difficult. But I think your training helps you to understand, and deal with all these emotions, and the sharing and the support, and our purpose is to find out and then help the child, to ensure. Yeah, it makes you a tough person. Yeah, because it's happening to somebody else. You're not in that situation. You can just imagine what it could be for that person who's experiencing it. Yeah. So many such experiences. Yeah. And that training really made it very tough. Made me quite tough. Yeah.
And what about like you said, you use a lot of therapeutic practices like Reiki and stuff. Very interesting. How has that ever helped you? Reiki?
Yeah.
Can you do Reiki on yourself?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I've seen people do it. They go all stuck with their hand, but I don't know if you can do it on yourself. Has that ever helped you?
Yeah. So for me, learning, whenever it comes to healing and learning, I'm very thirsty. I'm very curious to know more. So I used to do a lot of social work, growing up, and I happened to meet this lady, and she was a Reiki trainer. So she told me, you should do Reiki. And I must have been 20, 21. Okay, I didn't even have enough money to do these kind of things. And I told her that, and it was expensive. And I told her, I don't think so. She said, I'll give you a discount. But she said, that also give you a discount because you need to give me something in return. I can't give you free. She said, but I want you to do this. So thanks to her, Valerie, I still remember her name, I did Reiki. And see, we are all energy at the end of it, And Reiki is about, healing, sharing that energy and healing. As such, I wouldn't call. There are 3 levels of Reiki. The 3rd level makes you, it helps you to make another person a Reiki, kind of a person. So I've just done 2 levels, which was, healing by touch and long distance healing. I don't use it as much, yeah. But those days, yes, I used to use, when it comes to healing. So I remember my mother, she would always joke, what is Reiki? And once she had a very bad back problem, and I told her, I will do Reiki, but you have to trust me. So she said, okay. She was so desperate for some help, so she said, okay, do. And then when I was able to heal her, so she then started believing in my, that there is something called Reiki, So yeah, so it mainly for pain relief and all, fever. Yeah, I used to use it for that. Yeah.
Do you still remember most of it?
I do remember. Yeah.
So now, when you're here with the kids you work with here. Have any of these practices helped them in any way? Where they come back to you and they're like, yeah, I feel much better.
Yeah. So with just children, yeah, I will not use any Reiki and all this stuff. Yeah. But typically psychological tools,
Yeah, like cognitive behavioral therapy, as you mentioned.
Yes.
So yeah,
like transaction analysis, cognitive behavioral therapy. So the rational emotive therapy. These are some of the techniques that I would use. Yeah, of course, I've seen a lot of healing. Seen a lot of success stories, so yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
Any child that you've worked with so far who has really stuck out to you, any kind of specific story that just you think about it and you think it's a huge accomplishment even for you to help them?
Yeah, I can think of a couple of students, but one kid who stands out is I met her in grade 9. And I met her in grade 9. She came to me for career counseling because her parents wanted her to do medicine, and she didn't want to do medicine. And so a lot of pressure from home and all this stuff. I mean, to cut the story short, this kid, she transformed herself. Today she is she's a world champion when it comes to horse riding.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I don't want to call her because I know she's going to be watching this. I'm going to share this podcast with her, but she is my success story. One person who I'm very proud of. And from where she began to where she is today, I'm so proud of her. and to know that she's done an incredible journey. She's somebody who wanted to study abroad and had again certain parental limitations, the pressures of not traveling out of the country. And she went travel. Today she's doing her masters in another country, so I'm so proud of her. So I have to mention her because I know she'll watch this, because I'm going to share it with her, and it is the best way for me to let her know that I am so proud of you and that you are my success story. You will always stand out.
That is so fun. Well, that was really nice.
Yeah.
I've always had this thing where I watched the Olympics last year, and I was like, now I want to go into the Olympics for badminton. I've always had a thing for badminton. Like I feel like if my parents put me in the sport earlier, I would have done good. But they said you never liked anything growing up, so we didn't put you in it. But it's nice. I mean, if I don't know, maybe someday I'll just.
Yeah, you should just do it. I'll tell you, because I'm doing guitar now, and I'm like, why didn't I do it when I was a kid? And because the thing is, and my parents always knew I was a musical person, but for whatever reason, it's never too late, Mahi. Get into it, and even if you may not reach the Olympics, you'll reach somewhere, and you may inspire someone,
Yeah.
Even if you inspire someone to get into Olympics, that's enough,
It's just fun. The Olympics was something I was like, because I was watching it last year. Last year was the first time I actually properly watched it, and it was so fun. Where I was like, you know what? I want to be there. I like the energy. I want to be there.
Yeah.
So it's just that. It's just completely based off of that. That's it.
No, then I think you must get into some kind of badminton coaching and train yourself.
I have the time now. I think I should.
Yeah, you must. Yeah, you should. Yeah.
All right. So this brings me to my last question. Before we wrap things up, is there anything or any message you'd like to share with everyone? Please look at the camera. And you can say whatever you want.
Yeah, I think you should always follow your heart, and we are all come here for a purpose. We all have a limited time on this planet, and our purpose is to play some role to save this planet, either in terms of whether it is in a field of medicine or engineering or sustainability, education, banking, finance, whatever it is, it's all about making this world a better place. And in whatever way you can do to inspire someone, do it, and write one success chapter for yourself. Every month, every year, but write one success chapter. And even if the success chapter involves you being in someone else's success chapter, that's it. You achieved it.
That was great. Would you ever consider writing a book?
Oh, yes. Yes, that's my dream. We had to write a book.
What would it be about?
I think it would be about life. I would always say, why don't we have a catalog for life? God gives us this life, but we don't know how to live this life, I would like to write a book on the things that I have learned and understood about life. Yeah.
That's nice.
Because it is not as complicated as we think it is when we are growing up, At the place where I am, I feel I wish I knew all these things and, would have taken life more lightly and enjoyed it.
I think I needed to hear that. Enjoy it. Take things lightly.
Exactly. Enjoy, take things lightly, and you'll always have people around you to, the universe is always listening to you. If you want something, just throw it to the universe. If you have a good heart, the universe will get it and will, deliver it to you.
I look forward to the book.
Yeah, I hope so.
All right. Well, this concludes our episode. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you so much. That's a nice one. I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much for this opportunity. It was wonderful. And like I said, even if I can touch one person's life through this podcast, I have this time. It's worth it.
And thank you all for watching. If you liked it, thumbs up and subscribe. And I will see you all in our next episode. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.